Hey guys, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a really special birthday card to share with you. Today is my daughter Jillian's 16th birthday, and I wanted to make her a fun birthday card to celebrate her sweet 16. I can't believe she's 16 years old. The years are just flying by. But I thought that it would be really fun to show you how I made this. I used the Pick a Pattern Designer Series paper, and I made a cute little envelope with our envelope punch board. So this is a little 4x4 card. So why don't we get started? I'm going to change things up just a little bit in the card that I design on camera, and you can tell me which version you prefer. But these are the products that we are going to be using to make the project. I'm going to be using number of years stamp set along with the matching framelits and just some other fun supplies. So why don't we get started? The first thing that you will want to do to make your own 4x4 card base is to cut a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock 4x8. And as a reminder, all of the directions for today's project will be available on my blog post, so just head on over to iStampin.com, look for today's blog post, and if you scroll down, you'll see a link to download the project instruction sheet. So you'll be able to see all of the directions on how to make this card, as well as all of the products listed that I used to make this card. Okay, so like I said, you just cut it 4x8, and then I've already scored it at 4 inches. So that gives us our 4x4 card. And so let's use our bone folder and burnish that well. All right, the next thing I've done is I have cut a piece of the Pick a Pattern Designer Series paper. This measures 2.5 by 3 3/4, and that's just going to go right here on the card. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut a 1 1/6, and I'm going to use the negative piece. I want the this large Designer Series paper to be on top of the card. And so what you'll do is you will just get out the large number framelits that match the number of years stamp set. So this is the stamp set that we're using. And we are just going to die cut out the 1 and the 6. So what I like to do is just to place the numbers on my Designer Series paper and then take this over to the Big Shot, and then I'm going to show you the pieces that you're going to need to put this up on the card base. So let me go die cut this real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what it looks like after we've die cut it out, and what you're going to want to do is just punch this part out. You're going to want to keep this center part for the 6. So make sure you don't throw that away. And then you have a 1 and a 6 to use for another project. So you've got 2 projects out of this. All right, now we're going to just put this off to the side. We're going to do a little bit of stamping. Now on my sample card, I used our marble background stamp. You can find that in our annual catalog. I like it, but it's a little too bold for me. So I'm just going to use this little background stamp that's part of the number of years stamp set. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try that and see if I like that better. I'm going to stamp it in Flirty Flamingo. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp off once before I stamp. And I'm just going to stamp here on the left side, and I only want to come in like, maybe no more than a 1/2 inch. And so I just want it to be really subtle, just to give a little bit of interest on that side of the cardstock. So I've just got some scratch paper right here. And to stamp off, you just, or to give it a lighter shade, you just stamp off on a scratch piece of paper and then stamp on the card. So just a really subtle, just kind of background, not anything that you're supposed to notice a whole lot. As you can see, some of my stamps aren't the best impression, but that's okay. Whoops, and I forgot to stamp off there. So you can see I make mistakes too. All right, so that's kind of a nice little subtle background. Okay, so now what we are going to want to do is put this up on dimension, and it's going to be right there on the right side of the card. And the easiest thing that I have found to use for this are our foam adhesive strips, because what you're going to want to do is you're going to really want to put adhesive all the way around the numbers and all the way around the side to really build it up, because if you don't, this is going to cave. So we want this to be really nice and supported. And when I made my sample card, 2 strips were just about all I needed. And this stuff is really, really nice. It's easy to work with. If you haven't gotten this type of adhesive yet, give it a shot, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Anything that's super easy to work with, I like. And while I am putting this adhesive on here, any of y'all that are watching this that have a relative, you know, daughter, granddaughter, niece, friend that is turning 16, comment below and I will do a drawing, and one of y'all will get this extra 16-year-old card that I'm making, because I won't need another one, so I'd rather let y'all have the opportunity to win it. So like I said, just comment below on today's blog post. Make sure you go over to istampin.com, look for today's post, which it is September 28th, and I will pick a winner on, let's see, I'll pick a winner on Monday. All right, so I'm just putting adhesive all right here. Now what I'm going to want to do is come in and get it close to here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so that's what it looks like after I'm done. I got distracted when I was talking to y'all, so I used 2.5 strips. But let's see how neat this is. I was able to curve it around the bottom of the 6, so that's why I like this foam adhesive strip so much, because it's just easy because it's a strip, but it's bendable. So go ahead and peel off all the backing. Okay, so now I've got all of the strips off. And then I'm just gonna make sure I've got it even. And just firmly press it down. And so you can really see how well supported, especially here in the middle. That's where it sags, is around the outline of the numbers. So that's why, you know, you really want to give it a good firm base and make sure that you put your dimensions all the way around the numbers. Okay, and so now we just need to pop this up. So I'm just going to get a little bit of the strip and just put it right here in the center. And then that just goes right here, just in the middle. Just like that. How cute is that? Isn't that precious? Okay, so the next thing that I did on the card is I stamped happy birthday, and that's coming from the number of years. You can see we've got lots of different choices, but I just went traditional and I did happy birthday. I heat embossed this using our white embossing powder on basic black ink. So we're going to put our card off to the side and use that a little bit later. So just grab a scrap piece of white, basic black. And because we're going to do some heat embossing, I like to use my embossing buddy. If you're not familiar with this little gizmo, this is just a little powder packet, and it gets all of the oils off of the cardstock, so the powder can easily stick to the cardstock and not stick elsewhere. So what we're going to need is Versamark, and I went ahead and put happy and birthday on 2 blocks. So we're going to stamp this first, and then we'll sprinkle the embossing powder on afterwards. And I'm going to be cutting this down, so it doesn't really matter where I stamp this on the cardstock, but I do want the happy and the birthday to be lined up. I think that looks good. Okay, I did a good job on there, yay. Okay, I just use this little tray, this powder tray, to catch the embossing powder, and then this is just our white embossing powder. I just keep it in this little container, and you just sprinkle it over your stamped image. And then what I like to do with a dry paintbrush is just kind of brush away the embossing powder. If for any reason, if your paintbrush actually gets too close to a letter and you wipe off some of the embossing powder, you can just sprinkle it back over and it should catch it. All right, now to melt the embossing powder, you just need to get out your heat tool, and I like to turn it on 1 for just a few seconds just to let it warm up before I go to melt the powder. And when you see the powder turn to a glossy white, you know that the powder has melted and you're good. You just don't want to heat it for too long because you can burn the powder. Now I'm just going to cut this down and not to the left side. Hey guys, would y'all believe that I finished this card and did not push the record button? So let me cut some more supplies and I will make this again. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so there's our happy birthday, and let's go ahead and bring our card back in, and that's just going to go right there, flush up against the edge of the designer series paper. So let's go ahead and just put this on, just use snail to attach it. Just like so. All right, now to make the little cluster, I use just the back side of this designer series paper, and I cut out a little banner, and you can find that here in the framelits. So I cut that out, and then I also cut out, so it's around here somewhere. It's right here. And so what that does is that ties in the black and white from the birthday banner. So that makes it a little bit of cohesive. Then I also cut out this little leaf element, and I used a thick Whisper white cardstock. I thought that it's a little bit sturdier than just our regular cardstock. And this image is coming from our Trim Your Stockings Thinlits, and this is in our holiday catalog. This really has some fun element pieces. So here it is right here. So like I said, I used our thick Whisper white, and like that's in our holiday catalog. And then I went ahead and cut some mini silver sequin trim. This is about 5 inches long. We're going to be doubling that up. And then this is our basic black baker's twine, and we're going to tie a bow. And I'm just going to use glue dots to attach these items on. So I'm just going to grab a couple of glue dots here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all the way up here, flush to the top. And I kind of want it to overlap where we were stamping, like so. And then use some glue dots to attach this piece. 2 should do it. It should be good enough. Oh, and I'm going to trim this down. I meant to do that earlier. I'm just going to cut off one of the little leaves. Okay, and that's going to go about right there. And then I'm going to put some glue dots on top of the little leaf die cut, and then put this sequin trim on top of that. Okay. And you're just going to double that up and make sure you've got the front of the sequin trim showing. And I'll cut the sequin trim if I need to after I tie the bow. All right. Okay, and just pull the tails. This one's a little crazy. There we go. Okay. Then use another glue dot to attach that. Just put it on. Everything's just everything is just layering on top of each other. And that goes like that. Okay, and so I do need to cut the tails of the baker's twine. I think I'm going to leave the sequin trim the length that it is. There we go. Okay, and I'm still recording. This is good. All right, so there is the final piece of the card, and it's just a fun, very eclectic. And that's what I thought was so interesting, is just the little eclecticness of this card. It was fun to make. So let me bring the other card here. So I've got two of those, and then this is my daughter's card. So there's with the marble background. So you can tell me which one you like. But like I said earlier, since I messed up, I've got two of these cards now. So comment below by next Monday. Today is September 28th. So Monday, whatever day that is. Comment below and I'll pick two winners to get these cards. If you just want to comment, you can. But specifically, if you have a person that's getting ready to turn 16 years old in your family or a friend or whatever, and you'd like one of these cards, I'd love to send these to you. Okay? All right, guys. Well, I hope you liked the project. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can head on over to istampin.com to download the project instruction sheet. And again, that was using the number of years stamp set and matching bundle or matching framelits. Thanks, guys. Bye.